Welcome back to the shop. Yes, it's been a year, and what a year it's been. So I'm not going to belabor this. I would imagine some of these subscribers probably thought I was dead, considering that I had reported previously that I had colon cancer and had surgeries and so forth. So this past year I've had 2 more of those, and like I said, not going to belabor this because it's not really what I'm about here, but so far we're in just looking, watching and seeing mode, and things are going well so far. So I'll just leave it there. So what's been going on? There's been a lot going on. Unfortunately, there hasn't been anywhere near enough going on because of previously mentioned surgeries. I haven't been able to get a lot accomplished. What I have done, though, is basically completely changed the mix of projects I'm working on. The Beetle has been put in long-term storage. It's not going away, but I'm not currently actively working on it. I decided that it was a long enough term project that, quite honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish it. And I wanted to get a track car running a little sooner than that. So you can see just off to my left here, a red beast that is going to be the short-term track car. That would be a 1988 Audi 90 Quattro, something I'm fairly familiar with, and I'm currently waiting on parts for, as usual. The other project, and I'm going to do a little more of a deep dive on this one because it's going to be one of the large focuses over the winter here. The Audi, I have the suspension for. I have most of the engine pieces I need to go through the engine. Unfortunately, when I bought it, it ran well. Unfortunately, I said, hey, you know, this thing leaks some oil, and I need to, deal with that. You can't have oil leaks in a track car. Very bad idea. Fire's not your friend. So I took it apart, only to find that the $1,200 set of JE pistons in it had been detonated to death, and you can't buy anymore. So basically what I'm doing is putting the motor back together stock-ish. The cylinder head, if you're an old school Volkswagen guy, you'll recognize this next name. The head is with Tectonics right now. Colin is putting in slightly larger valves because the originals are impossible to get, basically. Exhaust valves are known for dropping off in these. The sodium-filled 2-piece exhaust valves are well known for dropping off into the cylinders under high stress conditions like a track car. So they're putting in, again, slightly larger intake valves at 41 millimeter versus the 38s that 10 valve turbos, which is what this car had in it. It didn't have the original NG normally aspirated motor. It had a 10 valve turbo in it, which is one of the reasons why I bought that particular car. In any case, and then 33 millimeter Inconel exhaust valves. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to make a huge amount of horsepower. I mean, it's a 10 valve to start with. If I was going to make a huge amount of horsepower, I'd drop the 07K that's supposed to go into the Beetle into it, although that's a lot of fabrication too. So just for the time being, though, it's getting a light flywheel, it's getting a stock compression MC2 set of pistons that I have. I ended up getting 3 different motors to get one that was usable mostly. It's actually getting pretty hard to find 10 valve motors. They were disposable hand grenades for so long that there's just not that much around, as I found out. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with that. It's on hold while I'm waiting for parts, and I've got a couple things to make for it, and I'll actually do an episode on that. Anyway, so let's turn the camera around and have a look at the other project. And this is a big one, and it's going to stretch my limits again because this isn't something I normally do. Anyway, we'll be right back. So, what's that you say? A British car, Bill? It's not a Volkswagen? It's not an Audi? Yes, I have a soft spot for British cars too. I did restorations on them for a decade, including the race cars, which were mostly British too. Um, so I have friends that are very involved with minis, have minis. I've liked them. I've never owned one before. I was a Triumph guy when I was doing British cars and had them previously. But I always wanted one. Uh, I've always thought minis were cool. They have a huge racing history, as most people know. And well, I got one. We call it Crunchy. There's a reason. Actually, there's two reasons. So let's have a look, and we'll come back in here in a sec. Okay, we're back. Meet Crunchy the Mini. So I said there were two reasons why it's called Crunchy. So the first, if you're familiar with Monty Python at all, and I'm a big fan, they have a sketch called Crunchy Frog. And basically, when we first picked up this car, we got it back to the house here. The next morning, I went out to wash it for its first time, and there was a small frog clambering about by the rear quarter windows trying to get out. So it was a crunchy frog. Anyway, and then, well, sadly enough, it's been crunched at some point in the future, or in the past. No, not the future. In the past, it has been crunched, and some of that needs to be redone. So we'll just do a quick walk around of the car. I'll apologize for the light right now. It's kind of right around noon, so it's a little bit harsh, but you get the general idea. And you can kind of see in the car a little bit. Let me get past here. I can't get far enough away. My van's in the way. It presents relatively well, actually, from 10 feet away. People go, oh, that's a really nice car. Sorta. It has its issues, and it has lots of little ones, to the point where probably 30 or 40% of the car is going to get replaced. So anyway, we'll give you a quick look at the interior as well. This would be a Mark III, so it's a 1971. It was originally a Canadian import. Has aftermarket seats in it, which are going away anyway because I don't really like them. The ever so useful back seat. And the other reason it's named Crunchy. I'm not sure if you can see the floor here really well, but you can see that it's all crunched up right there. And actually, right here is one of the subframe bolts. The subframe continues on from down there, and there's supposed to be another hole right here where it attaches. And it's not even attached there, and the subframe is bent up there, so that's one of the things that's getting replaced. But you can see there's rust here, there's rust here, and I'm going to use British terminology because we just do that around British cars. So this is the inner wing or fender. So it's from here basically forward is the inner fender. That's all getting replaced. I have those replacement pieces already. You can see the bottom of the door has some rust. There's a little bit right here. So I already have door skins. I already have the lower quarter panel pieces. This is hard to see probably, but there's definitely mud in there. So that's the A panel, front outer wing, bonnet, this front panel down here, all getting replaced. There's supposed to be a hole right here where the this panel is supposed to bolt to the front subframe. It's not. It's 1.5 inches away on this side, about 1 inch on the other side. Let me see if I can get this open. Your typical A-series engine. One of the reasons I got this particular car was because instead of having the 1000cc engine that it came with originally, 998cc actually, This has a 1275A plus, so it's a fairly late model. We believe this was probably an injected engine, an early injected engine, since it still has a distributor. And it has the early clutch, but it is a later transmission than this car would have originally had. Lots of things been done to this already. The suspension on it's already got adjustable arms everywhere, front and rear. I have two sets of these these are actually factory Rover late mini wheels. I mean late as in late classic mini production. So I got a couple of sets of those. It has the typical 70s sunroof in it. That may change. I just put my Momo wheel into it because I really like these wheels. So in fact, it's a Japanese spec Momo competition, my favorite. So anyway, let me put you back. Oh, here, let's look inside the boot. Now, quite often the boot floor is rusty on these, and you can see why. I washed it last night and there's still a little bit of water on the floor in there. But this one, other than some surface rust, is actually pretty nice. So I'm not going to have to replace that, fortunately, because one of the things I do have to replace other than the front sheet metal is this, which came with the car. That would be the entire floor. Basically from in front of the rear wheels to behind the front wheels. So that's a fairly major undertaking, but it really amounts to drilling out 1,000 spot welds and then spot welding it back in. It's not horrible, but bodywork's not my thing. But I am going to try and paint this car, so we'll see. And then as far as colors go, we'll give you a little bit of a look at the Audi there, real quick, a little bit of it. These are the colors. This is a, let's see if I can get this in the sun without me being in it. So that is a Triumph color, actually, and a Porsche color. So that would be Cavalry Blue and Sunshine Yellow. Both 1970s colors, so kind of appropriate for the vintage of the car. And so what it's going to be is the main body will be blue, and then it's going to have a yellow stripe, kind of a wide main stripe, about the width of that license plate light there, and then two smaller stripes, one on either side, and it'll just run the entire length of the car, probably down the dash too, just because I'm that like that. Anyway, let me put you back on the stand and we'll finish this up. Okay, so that concludes our tour of the first project, which is the Mini. We're going to get started on that here in the next few weeks. Basically, I have one thing to accomplish, automotively at least, before I get started on that. I'm selling off a couple of other projects. My travel all that I've had forever and the low cost are going away. The upshot of all it is, though, is I'm just going to try and concentrate on these two things. Hopefully that I don't have any more medical interruptions and everything goes well. We'll see. I'm sure I'm going to find more spots on the Mini that are going to need work, but that's kind of the nature of working on these. And you know, I said something to the effect that this isn't really my wheelhouse. It's not what I do. You know, I'm a machinist. I'm not a body guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I have been around it a lot. I ask questions when I'm around it, and I've seen far too many people in the UK particularly with restoring Minis in shops that make one stall of my shop look big. So if they can do it, man, I can do it. And these are people that aren't professionals in the automotive trade of any kind, never have been. They're just enthusiasts. So it's doable, and I'm going to do it. In any case, if you want to see a little bit more on the story of how I got the car, you can check out the other channel I'm associated with, Spirited Drives and Unreliable Cars, and I'll put a link to that in the description, for a video on how we picked it up and how I found out about it and such. The other thing I'll mention was I was actually in the hospital for my last surgery when I bought this. So I think the lesson there is probably don't buy cars when you're taking opiates. Anyway, that's all for now, and hopefully I can convince myself that I really need to do video editing at least once a week. Maybe just we'll do this vlog style for the most part, but some of this I will probably film as I'm doing it. I'm going to try and do a little bit more of that. So thank you for everybody who has remained a subscriber in the last year, who didn't bail because I didn't post anything, and I'm going to try and do better and post more. Just have to get over my detesting video editing. So this is why we'll probably do vlogs. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.